July 4th workout breakdown. It is an arm day. I think a very undervalued day. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit here and hopefully give you guys some insight for those of you that maybe have never heard of any of this in terms of like the functionality of your biceps and triceps in and outside of the gym. A little malfunction there. So you guys will start with your deep squat. Of course, the monthly emphasis. Again, it's not every single day. I'm only going to go over this because it changes. If you haven't realized, the deep squat kind of rotation or routine changes out every 3 days. So you guys will, I believe this the 14th is the first day of this setup where you guys have 90-90 switches for a minute. You're going to work on kind of slowing it down, using your hand as leverage if you need to, stretching or lengthening on one side of the switch, and then working on opening up your opposite hip as you actually make the switch. A little bit slower and controlled, and really trying to get into the, as much of an open position as possible with the opposite hip as you rotate sides on the 90-90. The deep squat pulse and hold. It's going to force you to kind of get in and out of that deep squat if you have the, relative strength. Only a couple inches out of it, you'll pulse a couple of times, and you'll go back down into that deep squat and hold. Hopefully, 2 weeks into this, a lot of you guys are starting to feel a little bit more mobile in this position, a little more accessible to get down there, fingers crossed. If not, just keep plugging away. It's only going to benefit you for you guys to get more comfortable here. And then again, a deep squat to a hammy stretch we've done quite a few times. I absolutely love this one. It's fantastic, really, for everybody. Now, regarding the actual workout, I'm going to go over the shuttle runs last. So both of these slides are very similar. Shuttle run, and then a tricep and a bicep primary lift. So I really just need one of these. The tricep and the bicep. So I picked the 4 movements that you are hopefully very familiar with. You got tricep extension, concentration curl, seated alternating curl, and overhead extension. So 4 movements where you should be able to move, relative to arms, quite a bit of weight. And that's kind of the goal here. I think a lot of people kind of just kind of push arms to the side. They don't really see the functionality of them, not really sure what they provide outside of like cosmetic purposes, which, by the way, obviously, if you have toned arms, it looks great as well. But you have to build muscle to have toned arms. Anybody who doesn't want to lift, that's not tone. You just don't have any fat. You want muscle on your body. You need lean muscle on your body. And then keep in mind, at the end of the day, you put lean muscle on your body, increases your BMR, your TDEE, all these things that allow you to burn more calories at a resting scenario, which is what you do most of the day. So again, lean muscle is superior. We always want to be promoting putting lean muscle on your body, and we can have the conversation about the bulking thing another day, but that's not real. Anyways, triceps. Let's start there. Actually, let's start with biceps. So biceps, the concentration curl and the seated alternating curl. Your bicep, in the gym, doesn't perform a ton of functionality things for you. In other words, you're not going to see a lot of places where you're like, wow, my super strong biceps are really elevating me. Unless you want to work on specific movements. So obviously on the bar, chin-ups, pull-ups, they play a huge role. They're synergists in both of those movements. You need strong biceps in order to do those moves, especially without bands, of course. And then again, stuff like pulling, low rows. You have to have the ability, your biceps have to be conditioned and strengthened in order for you to move more weight, which again, moving more weight allows you to build more muscle. Building more muscle is, like we said at the beginning of the video, only a positive. So in the gym, it doesn't feel like there's a lot. Now outside of the gym, both biceps and triceps offer a lot of functionality to your day-to-day life. And this is the part that I don't think a lot of people know. So your biceps, primary function is flexion, right? It's to bend your elbow towards you. It allows you to supinate your hand, right? Flip your hand so your palm is facing up. And then again, your long head and your short head both stabilize your shoulder and the bicep we're talking about, allow you to abduct away from your body. And then again, allow you to pull things obviously towards your body. So just the stability portion of your shoulder goes widely unregarded and unnoticed. Nobody thinks about that ever when I think of a strong bicep. It also, in picking your arm up and down, your bicep plays a large role in allowing your shoulder to have the strength and stability to do that. So long story short, what I'm saying is the biceps have a lot of function that we don't pay attention to at all. So even if you're not overly gung-ho about strengthening your biceps and concentration curling a 25-pound dumbbell, whoever that is, try to get more excited about it. Find reasons. Like, these are longevity purposes. The more you age, the longer we go into life, the deeper into life we get. Like, these types of injuries and reoccurring injuries tend to happen mainly with people that don't have muscle tissue. Like, muscle tissue protects your body. It's like a exoform around your body, and it plays a huge role in lowering injury risk and hopefully allowing you to stay mobile and movement and doing things on your own as we get later and later into life. Again, and that's not me saying if you're 30, just ignore that. Like, that's, getting a strong foundation is fantastic. Getting your body into the habits early is obviously better than later, but, later is better than never. So your bicep is there. Now, your tricep's like the exact opposite, right? It's like agonist and antagonist. Your tricep does all the opposite things that your bicep do. Now, it still stabilizes your shoulder, allows you to abduct your arm. It still helps in the raising, lowering process. But in the gym, it's a lot. You tend to realize your triceps strengths more than your biceps in the gym. There's a lot of pushing and pulling is where your triceps come into play. And obviously we do a ton of that kind of stuff, right? And then even in your day-to-day life, you do a lot of things where you're using your arms as leverage to get off of a bed or open a door, or in the gym, all the chest pressing days and, belly burpees and push-ups and all that fun stuff. On the skier, you guys feel this kind of stuff when you're pulling. Like, there are a lot of things that your triceps do, but it's always in extension, right? So it's your arms extended. So obviously we talked about your biceps flex, your triceps extend, pushing away from your body. That's just more of a functional movement than biceps is at the end of the day. So either way, the point of this whole rant here was to let you know, like, it's not just how they look, which is, I've been in training my entire adult life, and people say arms, 99.9% of people, the first thing they say is, I want my arms to look X, right? It has nothing to do with, like, I want to be able to open this or pull this or move this or pick this up or stabilize this with my shoulders overhead when I'm picking something up, or like anything like that, right? And there is a lot of functionality to them. So that's the biceps and triceps. Hopefully got something out of that in my ramble. The shuttle runs, which I really, really wanted to do. Now, it's in quotations because shuttle runs technically, and I haven't been to school in a long time, but I think I'm right, technically are changing directions. So obviously in the treadmill, you can't change directions, which stinks. But at the end of the day, we can get the majority of the value of a shuttle run out of it on the treadmill. And what that means is it's your ability to not only speed up and generate power and force, right? We want to be explosive. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. Like, you should want your body to be able to generate force. It doesn't need to be like Division I force, but like relative to yourself, you want to increase your power output. That is a good thing. So you're going to pick a distance that you believe that you can sustain that type of power output for 10 consecutive rounds. A lot of people are going to overshoot themselves here. A lot of people are going to see 50 meters and be like, that's nothing. But if you're running at 80, 85%, and you're trying to be as explosive as possible, like 10 rounds is insane. Like, it's 500 meters of like a dead sprint. Like, that's just not feasible for most people. It doesn't matter who you are. So keep that in mind when you guys are deciding your distance here. 10-second dead rest. This is big. So the shuttle, what I think the most valuable part of a shuttle is not necessarily changing direction, which obviously we can't do, but it's your ability to not only be explosive and generate force and take off, but your also ability to control your pace, control your body, decelerate and slow down, obviously then change direction. We don't get to do that part. But you guys on the treadmill, I think a lot of people have fallen into the habit of just kind of jumping to rails, especially when they're moving really fast. Obviously, that's horrible and like shoots your risk of injury way high, especially in your lower body. But like, the treadmills are designed, those air runners are literally designed for you guys to learn how to decelerate, control your stride and your output, and slow down appropriately. Whether you use the handles to do so, or you get comfortable enough maybe today with 20 shuttle runs to finally slow down how you're supposed to. So you're going to learn to decelerate and slow down, fingers crossed. And then when you actually come to a stop, you'll clock your 10-second dead rest. And then you'll just go again and add, your 30, 40, or 50 meters to a running total or accumulating total, because resetting your treadmill every time is just going to eat up into your time. But anyways, that's that. Nobody probably expected an arm day of that explanation. I'm sorry this video is long. I know it is. I can't see the time, but I know it's longer than most people want. Hopefully we get something out of that. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, let me know. It's a Monday, so I hope you guys enjoy it.